turbocharged 51 over here. I hope you're having a splendid day wherever you are in the world. And guys, excuse me, I need to clear my throat quick because clearly you guys heard the over here is super squeaky. So I do apologize. Welcome back to Turbo Fox Racers and welcome back to F1 23. Well, not welcome back. Welcome to F1 23. Guys, we are back on the channel. We are back with a bang. And guys, honestly, the only thing I can say is I am immensely excited about this. So guys, today I'm showing you guys the two brand new circuits on the F1 game. So the two added new circuits to this game is Qatar, the Losail International Circuit, and the Las Vegas Circuit. So for this little level, I know the video length is not short, but trust me, it's worth it if you guys are like properly want to get like see these tracks like in proper depth. So we're going to be at Qatar first. Now, guys, I did not know that this was a sprint race track, so I accidentally I'm doing a little sprint race, but it's more content for you. So we will be driving as Fernando Alonso, my hero, obviously, for Cognizant Aston Martin for these 2 weekends. And guys, obviously, I haven't turned like a lot of wheel on the game yet at this stage. Of gameplay that you guys are seeing. So this was still me really getting used to the game and stuff, so I made a fair few mistakes, but this is honestly just to get used to the game. This is playing at 100 AI with my usual settings and just having fun, enjoying myself, going for broke, and yeah, just seeing how it is. And guys, I have to say, Qatar is an absolutely breathtaking circuit. The cars stick like glue to this track, and it's an absolutely ferociously fast roller coaster ride. It gives you such bad Silverstone vibes. It's not even funny, but like all the way from Luffield through to Maggots and Beckett's, you know, this gives such Silverstone vibes. But you guys are going to enjoy the gameplay here. Like I said, this was one of my first times turning a wheel on the game, but I knew a lot of you guys were going to want to see the two new circuits on F1 23, like I've already said, which is Qatar and Las Vegas. So guys, obviously with Qatar having a little sprint race now, I'm just doing a 35% race with short qualifying. I'm not going to show you guys the entirety of qualifying, and I really try to keep the races as short and sweet as possible, but just so that you guys can see how it looks. And I'm basically going to talk mostly about the feel of the game, how I'm adapting to the game, and basically also comparing it to F1 22, which in my opinion is probably the worst F1 game that has been released in a long time. Besides F1 2014 and 15 and 16 even, 2014 till 2016 was kind of crappy. I think everything after that, like 22 was the worst except for 14, 15, and 16, in my opinion. So far for me, F1 2020 is still the GOAT of F1 games. But this game, honestly, is not far behind it, and I'll explain to you guys why. So, like I said, guys, I'm not going to be commentating on the actual the happenings on track and in the game, but honestly, this is just so that you guys can see what happens. I will commentate on a few things now and again, but this is mostly just for you guys to see. And guys, first thing that I'm going to talk about, oh excuse me, I accidentally touched my mic there, but the first thing that I am going to talk about is the amount of grip you have on this game is absolutely incredible. It is honestly incredible. So you guys know on F1 22 there were like instances where you would even get wheel spin in 5th and 6th gear going through a corner. So for instance, turn 3 at Spain, that is almost that's almost a flat out corner in modern Formula 1 cars. So you go through that corner in 4th to 6th gear. 4th gear I can still understand, but 5th and 6th gear, when there's so much air pressing down the car and you're supposed to have a ton of mechanical grip, the rear end would just randomly step on you. You would have wheel spin in 5th and 6th gear. And that for me was just utterly terrible. This game, however, you do not have that. You get a bit of wheel, you get a lot of wheel spin in first and second and a bit in third, and then from fourth gear, you've got grip. And some quarters, if you really load up the car with torque and everything, you'll get a little bit of a kick out from the rear in fourth gear, but it's nothing you can't deal with. So yeah, but guys, I'm going to continue on in a second. Just enjoy the intro of the sprint race.
Complete. Let's review our top three today. Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, and Charles Leclerc. With qualifying complete, all that remains now is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then. Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and Fernando Alonso completes the front row. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Sainz, Hamilton, Perez, Russell, Gasly, Norris, Ocon, Bottas, Stroll, Magnussen, Joe, Albon, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, De Vries, Sargent, and Oscar Piastri. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint. And what would any Grand Prix weekend be without the one and only Anthony Davidson alongside me, as always, to talk you through the action. Why don't we kick off by discussing Max Verstappen?
Well, it was a really impressive lap in qualifying to get pole position, but are they going to be able to hold on to the lead into the first corner with so many quick starters around them? So we're in for an exciting start then, I'm sure. And then they'll all start to settle down a bit and try and find a rhythm as they plan the next phase of the Grand Prix. It's important to know when to push and when to hold back so as not to overcook those tyres early on.
Okay, so guys, I am back. So guys, once again, like I said, everything at this part of the game was new, but I quickly want to finish talking about the handling of the game. So I'm not going to have a lot of time for this part because I'm going to skip to something, as you guys will see in 2, 1, go.
The formation lap gets underway ahead of today's sprint. It's going to be interesting to see who gets pole position. As all the cars take their positions on the grid, the final preparations have been made, and all that's left is for the drivers to deliver on track.
Okay guys, I am back. Now, sorry for the interruptions. I just honestly want you guys to properly see the gameplay and everything and hear it and experience it, because these are 2 new tracks. But back to the matter at hand. So guys, obviously grip on throttle is a lot better. As you guys know, the cars in F1 22 understeered like utter pigs. So you can have 50 wing on the front and at some tracks, and the car would still understeer. On this game, especially for pad players, which I love, because playing on a pad on F1 22 was basically impossible. You couldn't be competitive in league racing. You barely did anything against 100 AI. If you're an average or above average player, you could barely do anything against 100 AI, because obviously they drove like it was F1 2020, and you had struggled with the actual F1 22 game, if you guys understand what I'm trying to say there. So here, you don't get that woeful understeer. There has been so much improvements done to not just pad but wheel users as well. The cars are so much more responsive, and when you start turning your analog on a controller, because obviously guys, I'm still on a controller, hence the word pad. I am still on a pad, and I honestly felt for the first few hours that I played this like I was back on F1 2020. The cars are responsive. The cars are not incredibly hard to drive. Don't get me wrong, they're not easy, but it's not brain boggling for certain things that they do. I'm sure you guys can remember with my league racing live streams on F122, like I got so mad and got so frustrated when I would do the exact same thing at the exact same corner, lap after lap after lap, and then on a random lap, nothing went wrong. I did the exact same thing. The car's rear would either be so unstable that I cannot control it, or the car would understeer like a pig and I would go wide, or I would miss my apex or whatever. But getting back towards the rear end stepping out, guys, the one thing that was literally impossible to do on a pad on F122 was to catch an oversteer moment. On a wheel, it was still very much possible because you had so much more, it was so much more sensitive and you had so much more input through your wheel into the game. But on a pad, on F122, if your rear started slipping, unless you hit the brakes or completely come off throttle, hoping that the oversteer moment hasn't gone too far already, like the car's already like on its way to go, you were going round. So 9 out of 10 times with the rear end getting loose, you would lose control and spin out on F122. You guys have already seen in this gameplay, the car has some massive oversteer moments because, like I said, I was still getting used to the game. This hasn't been a lot of hours of me playing. This was like 90 minutes of gameplay that I started recording this. And the only gameplay I did before that was time trial. So this is now where grip starts reducing. The car starts a little bit heavier in the race. It gets lighter. So everything here was like racing conditions. And the car wasn't as stable as obviously in qualifying or time trial. But I could catch the oversteer moments. It wasn't uncontrollable. And the thing is, on F122, you couldn't feel the oversteer coming. Even if your controller vibrated, the input from the game to the controller was too late. Here you can instantly feel when something's going to go wrong. And you can already start to counter it or to do something to fix the problem. So that honestly is such a big plus in my opinion. And that is all I have to say about that. Just give it a few seconds and I'll continue about another topic.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
With the sprint wrapped up, we now have our grid line up for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
Okay, guys, I did skip the intro to the full race. It's very much the same as the sprint, nothing fancy, and I didn't want to waste your guys' time with unnecessary content, like unnecessary video footage. So in any case, then so. The handling has been much improved towards pads, like I've already talked about. I'm not going to elaborate on that anymore. If you guys want like a fully dedicated video on that, I will do that if you guys really want it, with a little bit more factual stuff. So I will honestly go do a lot needed research for the proper terms and everything. So let me know in the comments down below if you guys would like to see that. And while you're down there, remember to drop a like down below on the video. Yeah, a little wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But guys, then more than that, another problem with F122 that I had, and this is now going back to the handling, but it was track-based. So, don't get me wrong, I've driven a few tracks already on F123, and you still have your, as the F1 gaming community calls it, your curbs of death. There are still those curbs. But once again, oversteer and understeer can be countered if you have...
Here we go then, the formation lap gets underway and the excitement here is building as we near ever closer to the start of the race. Which team will come out on top? Who's got their strategies right for today's race? Well, we'll soon find out. So as all the cars take their positions on the grid, the teams will be hoping their strategies pay off for them in today's race. The question I'm asking is which teams have got it right, which ones have got it horribly wrong?
Sorry guys, I keep these little pieces in between, the pieces that I know you guys are going to like, for me to just shut up and you guys can actually look and listen. But yeah, back to the curbs. So like I said, on this year's game, understeer and oversteer is controllable. You know, it's not as if it happens, you're just a passenger. On this year's game, it's controllable. And on F122, there were so, like almost any curb you touched, was a curb of death. On this year's game, there are so many curbs that you can actually ride on. And I mean, yes, there are still your curbs that you don't dare touch unless you want to lose a heap of time or lose control of the car. But the game gives you so much more confidence because you're not constantly worried about a car losing grip, and if you just dare nip a curb, that you're going to just go spewing into the wall or into the gravel trap. And that for me is a big thing. I know there has been a lot of tracks that have been, not just for this game, it happened on F122 as well, but tracks that have been laser scanned by Codemasters and EA, the creators of the F1 game. There's been so much time and effort put into some of these circuits. I know not all of them are done yet, but you can really feel the difference in the gameplay itself. I wish I could explain it to you guys more in depth, but honestly, if you want to experience this, give yourself 90 minutes on F122, and then jump onto F123 for 90 minutes and feel the difference. It's otherworldly. And honestly, the handling physics, the handling model, everything handling wise of F123 has taken such a good step in the right direction for me personally. It's joyful to play the F1 game again. Like I'm going to say in one of my other videos that is being posted soon after this one, so stay tuned on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed and your notification bell is dinged so you don't miss that. But I also talk a little bit about this in that video, is I didn't want to play F122 because it wasn't enjoyable, it wasn't fun, it wasn't satisfactory. The only thing you did for a controller player, the only thing that you felt while playing F122 was constant fear and anxiety because you can't go 2 laps without spinning. Because you either nip a curb, you brake a little bit too late and the car understeers off the track, or you just put your foot down in 5th gear a little bit too early and the car spins and you lose control. There was no security in your skills for F122. It was almost as if grip was rubber banding. The one lap there would be grip, the next lap there would be nothing. So, and it's not like the conditions changed or anything. So I'm really, really chuffed with how well Cody's and EA have stepped up their game with this game's handling, and how much they listened to the community. Because, guys, honestly, I'm not going to lie, the F1 game does not have the biggest gaming community. This is not something like COD or WWE or Fortnite or whatever mainstream game you know of. We've got a much smaller fan base compared to that. But the thing is, because F1 in general is growing so much throughout the world, obviously the game is also gaining popularity. So we do have a lot more players now on the F1 game than ever before. And the fact that EA and Cody's actually listened to our inputs and our complaints means so much, because that is not something that we're used to. And the handling was a gripe, whether you were a pad user, whether you were a wheel user, whether you were a freaking keyboard user. There was complaints about the handling, and it is so nice to know that has been fixed. Now, new thing. First of all, the cars sound incredible. Every year with these, even though the V6s are not anything close to the V8s, the V10s, or the V12s, honestly, you can see really Cody's and EA really putting time and effort into the way these cars sound. Whether like me, when you're driving in cockpit view for the max amount of immersion, or whether you're driving on the outside, or even with the replay cameras as the cars come flying by. These cars every year sound so much better than the previous game's cars, and I don't know how Cody's keep doing it. Obviously, in the video, you guys are not going to be able to hear it that in-depthly as when I'm actually playing the game, recording the footage, making the game, busy constructing the video for you guys. But honestly, pat on the back for Cody's and EA for making this such an enjoyable and incredible experience, for just how good the cars sound. It's part of the satisfaction part of driving these cars. And the difference between the Honda power unit in the Red Bull and the AlphaTauri, the Mercedes engine obviously in the Mercedes, the Aston Martin, the McLaren and the Williams, the Ferrari engine in the Ferrari, the Haas and the Alfa Romeo, and then the Alpine engine in the Alpine. Every engine has got its own unique tone, especially in cockpit view. And for somebody that plays cockpit, that is incredible. Another thing for me that has really stood out this year, in time trial, I drove the cars on realistic performance. Obviously, you have the option to drive them on equal performance. I chose realistic. And guys, even in time trial where there's a lot more grip, there is such an in-depth difference between the different teams and different cars. So, for instance, even if you take the top cars, like the Aston, the Red Bull, the Ferrari, and the Mercedes, all four of them feel different, and you can actually, if you, I'm sure if you spend like proper time with that one car, you will very quickly discover the car's strengths and the car's weaknesses. And the fact that you can go into Grand Prix mode and pick any of these cars, put it on realistic performance, and all the cars feel different, for me is such an amazing experience. So it's not just generic where every car feels the same and they sound different, but now they sound different and they feel different. I love the depth that the game has gotten with that. Then graphics wise, so guys, honestly, the graphics haven't taken a big step up, because obviously this game is also still catered to all gen consoles like I'm using right now, PS4 and Xbox Ones. But I don't know how to describe this, to be honest. I'm not very good with this type of terminology, but I'm going to describe it as the color filters of this game, the lighting of this game is leaps and bounds better than F122. There are still certain stages and times and certain tracks where it does look a bit dull, but the cars especially, they have such a nice shine and bling to them. I can't describe it to you guys. And even though the graphics haven't taken a massive step up, they still have taken a step up. But more than that, the game looks so much more vibrant and inviting, if I can describe it that way. The colors of the tracks, the tarmac, the writing on the sides of the tracks, on some tracks, on the runoff, all the colors stand out more, and there's not an overwhelming amount of dullness, which in previous games there were. This game honestly just feels so good and so clean, and I love it. I mean, even the lighting, like the reflections of the lights coming off the cars, off of Carlos's helmet that you guys can currently see, the reflections constantly moving, the shots of the tracks from far away, everything just looks so damn good. And it once again, it adds to the satisfaction of playing this game, because now it just doesn't feel pretty, it looks pretty, and I love it. Like, there's always room for improvement, even if it's only a small one, and Cody's really hit it out of the park with this one. After this, guys, I'm going to talk about like the menus and the feel of the game initially, but enjoy the cutscene for the end of the race.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
And that's the checkered flag. What an effort from the team here in Qatar. And a fully deserved victory too. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
Ferrari are at it again. An excellent performance at today's Grand Prix, and they're certainly a team that know what they're doing out there. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Well, it's got to be Kevin Magnussen. He displayed exceptional skill out on the track today and wasn't afraid to fight his way through the pack.
Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Information on your current levels of tyre wear and damage, press the MFD button to open the multifunction display, and then again to cycle to the tyres and the damage screen. Okay guys, everyone be aware.
So guys, I am back. We are now in Las Vegas. So as you guys can see, I'm really trying to like skip it along quickly because I don't want to keep you guys for too long. But I know obviously you guys always support me so well, and you guys always enjoy the content. You guys really have gotten that sense of, when I say the longer the video, the better the content and the better the race. You guys have really started investing in that, and I'm not gonna lie, I haven't failed you guys yet. So yeah, you guys can see there, I was so like enthralled with other things happening around me, looking at the lights and everything. I just completely forgot my brake zone. So I decided to throw that in there for you guys, just as a little bit of an Easter egg and a meme. But yeah, so guys, the next thing I want to talk about is what you guys are currently seeing on your screen now. So obviously you guys know, ever since I've started with my YouTube channels and everything, I've always driven cockpit view. I love, the reason I play sim racing games mostly is for the immersion. Obviously it's for fun, and because I'm a gamer and, you know, blind by the fish prices, I don't have time to tell you like the whole life story of why I game. But I'm a petrol head, I'm a car guy, I'm a car fanatic, I'm a Formula 1 fanatic, and the thing about sim racing games that really for me is one of the most important things is the immersion. It makes my personal experience so much better when there's proper immersion. So what I want to talk about now, guys, is what's literally on your screen. Like the graphics on the screen, like it is so much cleaner than on last year. I don't know if you guys can remember, but like when you did qualifying, like in my career mode videos last year, the timer on the top right hand of your screen, you guys know when it goes green, because you're going quicker for that new lap, or it goes red. The coloring was so dull or it was so bright that you couldn't see the actual time I was either losing or gaining. On this year's game, like I said, they've sorted out the lighting. It looks so good. Look on the top right. First of all, the red, the delta is bigger. And besides the numbers being bigger, the colors aren't so incredibly vibrant or so incredibly dull that you can't see the numbers within it. And that is even with me putting a little filter on the gameplay just to show you guys the proper like shine of the gameplay that I get as well. Then obviously I always put on my mirror in the middle of the halo. I know F1 cars don't have mirrors, but because it's still a game, I can't use my actual mirror, so I've got a rear view mirror. The steering wheel, the turning of the steering wheel, the lights on the steering wheel, the gears, the information, everything is so satisfactory. In your top left, you've got the placement of the drivers, their placing, as well as your lap counter and everything. And once again, the game is vibrant. That is a dark color, the black, and then with the white on top of it, it brings it out, it gives it a shine, it makes it very satisfactory to look at. And I love the fact that they've incorporated the cars, the team's logos as well, and the tires look so much better to look at, to see what tires the drivers are on. I love that. Then obviously you guys know on the bottom left, I always have my mini map, and I have the full track layout because that is how I prefer it. And then obviously in your bottom right, it is your multifunction display, the MFD for short. Once again, the game itself is vibrant. It's a dark color plate on top of it with another light, vibrant color in the white on top of it. It looks so damn good, and I love literally every little bit of this game. It is insane.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves once again of our top three: Verstappen, Perez, and Fernando Alonso. Goodbye for now then, but really we're just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
In a matter of seconds, some for as much as $1 million. There's a massive interest in Formula 1 in the United States, so it's no surprise we have a third race in America. Welcome to the Las Vegas Grand Prix. 17 corners, 3 straights, 2 DRS zones, and the glitz and glamour of Las Vegas as we race around the 3.8 miles of Sin City. The strip has been taken over to become a straight tonight, commanding top speeds of around 212 miles an hour.
So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Fernando Alonso, Sainz, Leclerc, Russell, Hamilton, Bottas, Stroll, Gasly, Magnussen, Ocon, Norris, Albon, Sargent, Hulkenberg, Joe, Tsunoda, Oscar Piastri, and Nick de Vries. And now it's time to head down to the track. And a warm welcome, of course, to my co-commentator here today, someone of tremendous experience and insight. It's the man himself, Anthony Davidson. Why don't we kick off by discussing Max Verstappen?
Well, it was a really impressive lap in qualifying to get pole position, but are they going to be able to hold on to the lead into the first corner with so many quick starters around them? I'm also looking forward to seeing the different strategies in play today. Those who are starting on the red marked soft tyre are going to have a little bit more grip early on, but they have to make it count before that degradation starts to set in.
Okay guys, I am back. I'm going to disappear just twice more, but it's only going to be for short bursts, short period bursts, so nothing too major. But yeah guys, all I just wanted to say, because the game cut me off, is I'm absolutely in love with the way this game looks, the way it's presented. It's so much smoother and cleaner than previous games. I absolutely love it.
Here we go then, the formation lap is underway and the track temperature looks warm. That may or may not play into some of the team's hands in today's race. As the cars make their way back to the starting grid to form up and get ready for lights out, let's hope the race ahead today is a thrilling one that will go down as a memorable Grand Prix in the history books.
Okay guys, now finally I'm going to talk about the gameplay itself. So guys, first of all, every year on the F1 game, Cody's and EA keep improving the AI year on year on year. So you guys know, back on F1, say on F1 2020 and F1 2019, I ran 110 AI, the maximum level of AI, the hardest level of AI, and I was still competitive. Since F1 2021, the AI has improved so significantly every year that every time the new game comes out, I have to take down my my difficulty level. So obviously this was just a show and tell video to you guys for Qatar and Las Vegas, which I'm going to talk about both the tracks pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. The AI get better every year. So this race, obviously because it's only a show and tell, I only ran 100 AI because obviously I was still learning the game, you know, just trying to get used to the feel of the game and everything. And they were so damn competitive and so damn punchy, but not overly aggressive, except for this little bit where Perez just shoves me and Verstappen off the road and then decides to kamikaze me into the wall again. But not the point. On last year's games, the AI went for some really unrealistic and never going to happen level of dive bombs. Where on this year's game, I feel they're a bit more calculated. And one thing that they are so damn good with this year, they were already good with it on last year's game, but they are absolutely incredible with it on this year's game, is their ERS management. So one big thing, especially when you look at esports and other levels of the game, guys, a little tip I can give you guys now, and it's not a pro tip. I'm not a pro by any means necessary, but for somebody who's been playing the F1 games since F1 2010, yeah, I haven't played like every single year of the F1 game. There were years that I've missed, but I've been playing the F1 games for going on a decade now. So one thing that I can tell you guys now is, on this year's game, ERS management in your races, whether you do league racing, whether you just play for fun on career mode, whether you're going to try some online stuff, whatever the case may be, your ERS management is going to be critical. The batteries drain very quickly and they don't recover as quickly as in previous games. Now, I know at the start of F1 22, there was a bit of a problem with the ERS where it just drained way too fast. with the initial launch of the game. That is not the problem in my opinion this year. You just really, really have to be careful how, when, and where you use it. Because the AI, especially because they save up so much energy for their final 2 laps. If you're sitting on anything from 0 to 25% in your final 2 laps, you are utterly screwed if you have got an AI driver, an AI behind you chasing you down, or you're trying to catch an AI to overtake them. You will not pass them, and you will be passed by them if they are behind you. They are incredible at ERS management, but besides that, the AI are so blummin' good this year just with the wheel-to-wheel racing. You guys saw there, myself, Logie Sarge, and Lando Norris were 3 wide. There was a little bit of tire rubbing, but not like a massive crash or anything. And 3 wide and 4 wide moments are possible now without the AI absolutely peeing in the boat, if you guys know what I mean. So you feel secure, not like the AI is just randomly going to turn in on you. I know the turning in of the AI was such a massive problem on F1 22. Now, obviously, on F1 2021, the AI were like almost scared when you got alongside them. They like veered out of the way when you like had half your wing alongside their rear wing, alongside their rear wheel. But now it feels like they found a perfect balance where the AI will cut you off if you do not have half a car alongside them, and if you do have a half a car alongside them, they will leave you enough space, but only enough to work with, not enough to exploit them all the time. Sometimes they're really going to push you to the limit, but the AI feel refined on this year's game, and I love the feeling of that. Then, guys, the last thing I want to talk about, I know you guys are not going to see it now and anything, but the menus of the game are so clean and so user-friendly. Like, even with the new F1 World that's been added to the game, by the way, if you guys want a video on F1 World, I'm more than willing to make it. I do not mind. It's just not something that I'm going to spend a lot of time in. So, yeah, if you guys want a video about F1 World specifically, hit me up in the comments down below and let me know very pretty please. But then more than that, guys, just this game feels so polished for an initial release. You guys know usually the F1 games on release, they are riddled with glitches and inconsistency with the game, the gameplay itself. There were so many glitches and bugs and stuff. And on this year's game, it's not the same. The game feels clean, the game feels refined, and it feels ready to be played with properly. Like, it's ready to be gamed. It's not just you need to be walking on eggshells while playing the game, and I love that of it. And then finally, well, not finally, but the one thing that I want to get to, that I want to talk to you about in detail and not feel like I'm in a rush, guys, is the tracks, especially these 2 new tracks, specifically the one you guys are looking at, Las Vegas and Qatar. Now, guys, I'm going to be honest, I don't like Las Vegas. Just like Miami, it's an oversimplified street circuit, in my opinion. The straights on Las Vegas are way too long. It's like you get to 350 and over kilometers an hour on these straights, which for me it's a bit much. And I mean, you sit in a guy's slipstream, you don't even have to use your overtake button. You just open the DRS and you're going to fly past them, and then you're like 6 to 8 tenths behind them on the 2 big straights. So, and besides that, the track does have some nice technical corners. It's not it's not as bad as Miami. I'll be honest, it's not nearly as bad as Miami, but it's not. I feel the pinnacle of street circuits is Baku and Montreal in Canada. Those are the 2, almost perfect street circuits, and all the guys in the comments are going to say, but what about Monaco? For modern cars, Monaco is crap. Even though I'm a massive Monaco fan, these modern cars are too big for Monaco, width and length-wise, and also weight-wise. Not the point. So your measuring stick when it comes to street circuits is the Baku City Street Circuit in Azerbaijan and the Gilles Villeneuve Circuit in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And this circuit, yes, like I said, it's got a few technical tight and twisty corners, but comparing to the speed you go down the straights, they are way too slow and there are way too little of them, and there's only one little high-speed turning point, like what these cars are built to do, corner quickly. There's only one little spot on this track for that. It just doesn't feel finished. It feels like it's a beta track. There needs to be a little bit more effort put into this track in real life. But guys, it's not that it's unenjoyable to drive. It is very enjoyable to drive and to play on. But it's not a track that I would be like, if you ask me like, hey, let's jump on F1. What track you want to play? And I'm not going to say Las Vegas. But now on the flip side. Oh my great googly moogly. Qatar is a freaking masterpiece. Guys, obviously, I know some people prefer different things when it comes to when they drive, when they play the F1 game, when they drive the car, and sim races in general. We play different sim games, obviously. I mean, I play Gran Turismo, Project Cars 2. You guys know, you've seen my channel. It's not just F1 is my sim game and the rest are just arcade racing games. I've got my other sim games as well. And most sim racers love different car classes. And I know for some of you, like the sheer amount of speed and grip and cornering speed of Qatar would be a bit overwhelming and a bit too much. But for an F1 fanboy, nutty guy like I am, like I said, oh my great googly frickin' moogly, Qatar feels amazing, guys. And at the end of the video, you guys are going to see the highlights from this race and from the Qatar race as well. It felt bloody phenomenal. It felt so good going around that track, and it's not like everything is constantly flat out. There's braking zones, there's points where you have to lift because the car won't be able to go through the corner completely flat out. It's so well rounded off, and I feel with all the improvements that Cody's and EA have made to the handling model and the handling engine of this game, Qatar is an absolute joy. I can't wait to drive Silverstone. I can't wait to drive the Red Bull Ring. You guys know the Red Bull Ring is not one of my favorite tracks. I can't wait to drive those two tracks. I can't wait to do a proper 50% race around Baku. I mean, and I know Baku is not like, I know it's still a street circuit, it's mostly slow corners and then like the big straights. But Baku has got a few corners where you can really chuck the car in. These high-speed tracks, once again back to Silverstone, even Canada, I mean Montreal, Canada, with those high-speed chicanes, Red Bull Ring, that fast-flowing middle and last sector. I can't wait to drive those tracks. I honestly can't wait. If Qatar felt that good and it's a new track, I can't wait to feel how the tracks that have been in these games for years upon years upon years, I can't wait to know how they're gonna feel. But if I have to give them both a rating, so Las Vegas, I will give, I don't want to be too mean because I think the track will still eventually grow on me a little bit, not too much like Baku did. I mean, Baku is now my favorite track on the F1 calendar. But Las Vegas, I will give a 6 out of 10. It's not bad, but it's also not good. And, well, it's not bad, it's good, but it's not brilliant. Qatar on the other side, I'm going to give it a solid 9 out of 10. There are a few things that, obviously it gets a bit tedious if you do a long race around there because it's as soon as you get into a rhythm and you're into a routine, you get used to the sense of speed. But I mean, qualifying is incredible. And those first 10 to 15 laps of a race, oh my goodness, dude, it feels like heaven. So yeah, and Qatar, like I said, 9 out of 10, it felt good. And yeah, that is my opinion about the two new tracks, guys.
All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Alfa Romeo have been winning fans the world over with their brilliant driving, showing that they're a force to be reckoned with out there on the track. They'll certainly be building on that fan base after today's excellent results.
Well, after an incredible day of racing, who was your driver of the day, Ant?
Well, I certainly didn't have any complaints with Kevin Magnussen's performance today. Incredible driving.
Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
Okay, guys, I know we are 45 minutes into the video. I get it. Just stick with me for 5 more minutes, please. Please, just 5 more minutes. Guys, honestly, I am speechless about how good and how clean this game is. I dip my hat in respect to Cody's and EA, because honestly, they've knocked it out of the park with the launch of this game. And the only thing I still feel is a bit missing is... There's 2 things that I feel are still a bit missing. It's something that we've been clattering on for years in the F1 game, is that historic tracks need to come back. Tracks like Turkey, tracks like Hockenheim, tracks like, what's that track in France? Magny-Cours, tracks like the Brands Hatch, that will now be a sub 1 minute lap on the F1 game. Tracks like that were old F1 tracks that we don't see on the calendar anymore. Nürburgring, Malaysia, all these tracks need to make a comeback. And it's something, like I said, that the F1 gaming community has been clattering onwards for years. And another thing that only in recent games got taken away from us, which was sad, but not too bad. The vintage cars, guys. The vintage cars, obviously, they weren't used a lot, which I understand. But it's one of those situations where we didn't know what we had until they were gone. And honestly, in this year's game, the supercars are back. Even less people use them than the people who use the vintage cars. The supercars are barely used at all in the game, like whatsoever. So that for me is to me personally, is a bit of a useless addition to the game. Bring back vintage cars, please. But besides those 2 little itty bitty points, this game is clean, this game is on fire already, and I can't wait to play as much of it as possible. And guys, honestly, I am extremely excited for this game and for this game cycle. We've got a year now, and I honestly can't wait. Now, guys, another thing that I quickly have to mention. First of all, I know the vlogs have basically disappeared from the channel, and I know this is the first video in more than 3 months on the channel. Guys, I went through a bit of an emotional rough patch. I wasn't in such too great of a mind space. There's a few things that changed in my life. I've recently gotten into a new relationship, and I'm starting a new job at the beginning of July. So obviously, I know I say this, I've said this a lot on the channel when things get busy or when my life gets a bit hectic. But guys, I will be giving you guys content on a weekly basis at minimum. 1 video a week is going to be the minimum. Vlogs will be coming back. The F1 game is back in power. And guys, I know I did a live stream with the game and you guys gave me such good support on the live stream, and I appreciate it so much. But there is also Gran Turismo 7 content coming in the future. So I'm going to be on the grind again. I'm going to stop. Also, one thing that I had a problem with, obviously, when you're emotionally not in the best space, you tend to procrastinate and all those types of things. I am not going to procrastinate anymore. I've turned over a new leaf in my life, emotionally and spiritually, and I'm here. This has been the dream since day one, and we are going to pursue it together. You guys always give me such good support, and I can never ever thank you enough. So guys, that is the update of my life. That is the update of what's going to be happening on the channel. But like I said, 1 video a week minimum is what I'm going to put myself to. Other than that, we need at least 2 to 3, maybe even 4 videos a week. And also, I'm going to try my best again to start live streaming again on the weekends. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you're subscribed and that bell is dinged. Then other than that, guys, please make sure to go check out the links in the description down below. And if you are still with me at this stage of the video, please make sure to drop a like down below on the video if you haven't done it yet so far. Thank you for staying to the end. Thank you for being such good support. And guys, thank you for sticking it out with me. Thank you for waiting for me to show my little head again with a video. But still, guys, thank you for the support on the channel. Like I said, new and exciting content is coming. Check out also, like I said, the links in the description down below for my social media media links because I'm going to be active on there as well. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for staying till the end. Welcome back to Turbo Fox Racers. Thank you for still being one of my Turbonatics. I am absolutely freaking hell in love with you guys. You guys are awesome. The support that you guys give me is something that I can't describe, and I am so grateful for it. We are 313 subscribers strong, and it's 313 subscribers that I am proud of. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for staying till the end. Like, subscribe, ding the bell, check out the links in the description down below, and never forget that I love you guys and thank you for everything. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers!